What's up, everybody? It's Saturday morning, just sitting here having my cup of coffee, doing what I normally do, get on the computer, go on YouTube, look at a bunch of videos of what's hot, what's new. And we all know the big news of, the DJI Mavic Mini. It's just all anybody is talking about. Now, I have a Facebook group that is strictly for Hubsan help and support, and instantly it starts getting flooded with all this Mavic Mini stuff, and I'm guilty of that as well. But that's just to prove how big the hype is in this, and how excited everybody is over it. But now that all the speculations and the rumors, which is a whole nother story of its own, all these people that like to speculate and have these live shows or these videos where they're just making up false rumors. I avoid those like the plague, because in the end, it's just, you sat there and you wasted your time and you looked a little bit foolish, because you're kind of in Dream Boy land where, oh boy, it's going to have this or that. It's going to just break the market. It's going to kill everything. And then you have the other side who, say this new quad is a DJI Mavic Mini killer, or the DJI Mavic Mini is a FIMI X8 SE killer, or what have it. Truth is, there is no killer. There never is. Everything that ever comes out never is a DJI killer of any kind. Anything DJI puts out is never a killer of any other quad in its market. So that always cracks me up, because people love that as a clickbait type thing where, this, Mavic killer. So there is no killer out there. This is the best thing for the market, because you have the DJI Mini, and all that's going to do is it's going to make everybody else want to step up their game. That's all this ever is. It's just a teeter-totter of DJI coming and giving its punch and saying, okay, F you, we got you. This is what we're putting out. It covers the under 250 grams. It's a great beginner starter quad. This is going to get you to pull in to buy the bigger, more expensive DJI products. And then you're going to have somebody, a company like Parrot or FIMI, who knows. They're all right now trying to step up their game to stay in that market. So what you have in reality is a DJI Mavic Mini beginner's quad. That's the market. Now, I'm not saying if you own all the other DJIs and you bought this, I'm not saying you're a beginner. I'm saying you're a DJI fanboy that likes to have all the DJI products. But and that's not a bad thing either. But the bottom line is they're putting out a beginner's quad. That's all this is. It does not have all the great features that we're used to. It's got its own little special app. It's a DJI Fly. So it's got its own DJI Fly app because that it has less. It uses a different Wi-Fi system, so you can't go and use, and I know a lot of people don't like to, but you can't go and use just your phone. You have to use your phone with the controller. You can pull up your Wi-Fi, and you're not going to find the DJI Mavic Mini within your Wi-Fi on your device. You have to be connected to the controller. So, other Wi-Fi quads, you can pull it up in your Wi-Fi list. You can fly it with just your phone if you're just doing stuff like selfies and things like that. The whole market for this is for beginners. If you look at everything about this quad, all the specs, everything about it, it's got beginners written all over it. That's the market. That's the niche. And why is that? Just like I said, it's so you will go and buy, you get that bug, you're new to quads, you want a really good manufacturer, DJI is the one to go after. That's the one to put your eyes on. $400, incredible deal where you can get a DJI, great quad. I'm not knocking this quad at all. You can get a DJI Mavic Mini for $400, and that's a fly more. So with that, you're going to get that bug. I got it. You got it. Everybody's got the bug once you get that first quad. Even if you buy junk, you get that bug and you want more. And you want better. So you're going to go and buy the Mavic Pro and stuff like that. So that's what this is for. To all the fanboys out there, and this might be where I tick people off, but to all the fanboys out there, what's cracking me up is so many things I've seen people complain about in other quads. Nobody so far is really saying anything about the DJI Mini that has the same characteristics. And the other thing I find funny is the amount of excuses the more pros use. I'm saying the more pros, like, people that have the Mavics and the Phantoms and things like that. The amount of excuses I'm seeing as to why I have to have this quad. Now I'm getting the Mavic Mini as well. I'm not purchasing it. Banggood told me they were going to send it to me. It's going to be a while because you got all these pre-orders to sort through and all that. They've still got to stock it yet. And then once they stock it, I'll get it. So sometime next year, maybe I'll get this quad. I'm going to put it on my channel. I'm going to fly it. I'm going to like it. I'm going to enjoy it for its quality, because I'm not knocking any of that at all. But for me, I've got quads that do everything around that Mavic Mini. I've got quads that are lesser than that. I've got quads that are equal to that. I've got quads that are much more superior to that, including the Mavic Pro 2. So I'll have it. I'll put it on my channel, and then I'm just going to give it away. So if you're a subscriber to my channel, you're going to have a chance to get the Mavic Mini 2, and it will be a Fly More package. And secondly, you have to be a member to my RC Hobby Shopper group in order to do that. The only people that get my free giveaways are those who actually are in my RC Hobby Shopper, but I am going to coordinate it somehow to where you're a subscriber as well. But it's only those who actually buy through my links. So I have reports, I have order numbers, and that's how I pick my giveaways. So that's another whole nother thing. But I will be getting the Mavic 2 Mini. I mean the Mavic Mini, and I am in no fashion need this quad, which is why I'm not buying it. I don't make up any of the excuses that, I've got all these other quads and they make up these excuses as why I have to have this Mavic Mini, because I'm not a fanboy. And again, I'm not knocking fanboys, but fanboys, my definition of fanboy is you've got to have everything DJI. And some of it's for channel content. You do nothing but DJI. Totally get that. Totally get that. You need this quad. You have to have it on your channel. But these guys that have all the different quads, and I have all the different quads, but I have nowhere near what a lot of people have. But I have everything that tells me I do not need this Mavic Mini. So it's not a killer for me of any quad, and it never will be. But the excuses that people are saying, like, portability, it's under 250 grams, I don't have to register it. So what? Register it anyhow. I think registering your quad is a thing of responsibility, and everybody should do it. I think you should register your quad. Now, in some countries that may be a pain in the butt. Your regulations might be a little stiffer, but here in the U.S., I think you should be registering your quad. And who knows? Okay, so DJI found a loophole, or not a loophole, but they were able to make something underneath that 250 grams. Who's to say the law is not going to change just because of that right there? It's going to be a big popular quad. Who's to say it's not going to change? The law is not going to change. They can change that law to anything they want eventually, and that's slowly what's happening anyhow. It's just going to get harder and harder for us to enjoy this hobby. But the excuse of the weight, the portability, tech. I mean, really, there's no big tech here. These are all just things to fool yourself in thinking I really need this quad. So speaking of that, as far as portability and some of the things I've seen, you take this right here. This is the Fimi X8 SE. It's not a big quad. Everybody's talking about how the Mavic Mini is, compared to a full-size iPhone. Well, I mean, we're not talking really big here. It's not giant. I can take this and put this in a small case with my batteries, just as I could with the Mavic Mini. Mavic Mini case is going to be a little bit smaller, but both will fit in my backpack. I could take the quad alone and carry it around. I could put everything in a backpack, go hiking. I can still do that with this and a Mavic Mini. That excuse just does not fly. So again, I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not knocking fanboys. I totally understand the whole lifestyle there. It's just not me. I'm not a fanboy. I'm a quadcopter fan, a hobby fan that likes everything in the hobby. I like the competition. I love when people think this is a killer because it mixes it all up and it gets everybody dancing around to produce something better to keep up with DJI. And so that's why it's great that we have a company like DJI doing what it does, but it's never a killer. And the one other thing that I've noticed ever since the Fimi X8 SE came out, and it's still the same thing you hear today, is does it have forward sensors? So you have this right here. It's an appearance of forward sensors, possible obstacle avoidance. So many people get so mad when they find out, no, that's not the case, especially those who have bought it thinking that's what it is, and then they realize, no, it doesn't have it. First off, read your specs before you buy a quad, but it's simply right now, it's a design. That's all that is. That's all you can call it because there's nothing there. It's just a design. It's not misconception. It's not trying to deceive you. You should be reading specs before you buy a quad. And nowhere does it ever say forward facing obstacle avoidance or anything like that. So we have the DJI Mavic Mini. It's got the same thing. It's got the front imaging look where it looks like it has the forward cameras. And I'm not seeing anybody complain about that. It's a design. That's all it is. It's to make it look like the regular Mavics. Those are actually sensor cameras on the Mavic. So, people are looking at that, and maybe at first glance pictures before we knew all the specs, maybe people thought obstacle avoidance. I think they did because there was enough people talking about that. But it turns out there is no obstacle avoidance on this. The thing doesn't even have follow me at this point. So nobody's complaining or bitching about that. False advertising. That was the biggest thing that always cracked me up, was when I would see people say false advertising. But you're not seeing that with the DJI Mavic Mini. So, the whole false advertising thing it's not false advertising. It's a design. They can make it look any way they want to make it look. False advertising is if they actually went and said it. They never said it. You just didn't read the manual. So, or the specs from the seller's website you're purchasing it from, or looking at it if you're interested. So the whole thing with the Mavic Mini, for me, it's a great quad from what it looks like. It's DJI. It's going to be a good quad. They don't throw out junk. They put out decent quality quads. but it has every characteristic of being a beginner's quad. So some of you might have other high-end quads. You might need a beginner's quad. Maybe you need to kind of hone in your flight abilities and make yourself better. So this would be a good beginner's quad for you. The biggest market is those who have never had any drone at all. $400 you can get a DJI that is a very good quad and get into the hobby and learn how to fly with it. The other thing that makes it a beginner is just the fact of lesser camera. Still a great camera. We don't need 4K. I love my 4K quads. I love using 4K. I have 4K monitors, or just to watch them with. So and I have a computer that can edit that. So I do like my 4K, but comparing that to 2K or 1080, a really good 1080, you're still got excellent video coming out of DJI product. So DJI product with a 1080, 2K, 4K, it's all good. Some of these other quads, they put out just as good video, at least in my opinion. Maybe not as detailed in color. Maybe some things are oversaturated. But these are all firmware updates and things like that that can be addressed if the companies ever sort these out. But the whole point for me is it's a great starter quad, and it's going to bring a lot of sales, but it's going to bring great things for the market, in my opinion, to where I gotta sneeze. Whew, excuse me. It's going to bring great things to the market as far as other people or other companies stepping up their game. They're going to want to be the DJI killer, but in reality, all they're doing is they're bettering themselves, giving us more options, and not really hurting one or the other. This whole video is just inspired because I've been seeing a whole lot of stuff with the DJI Mavic Mini, and as you have, and all the videos are out there now, and you're seeing a lot of reviews, a lot of talk, and so far, just a few videos I've seen, it's a equal balance. I'm seeing some things that are really what you would expect from a DJI, and I'm seeing some things that is the typical DJI stuff that it's right there in front of you on video, but the person doing the video is completely not being honest with you and telling you it's one example. I've got one video that I watched where the guy was talking about the wind, how stable this thing is in the wind, and that's a big thing that everybody's talking about because of weight. So he's talking about how stable it is in the wind, and the whole time this thing, it's jittery, it's dancing around in the wind. Yeah, it's holding its ground, but it's not the stability that he's saying it is, and it's not handling the wind like he's saying it is. If he were to shoot video from the quad while it was doing that, you're going to see that in the video. It's not going to be the video you want to watch or publish on your channel if you're out there in the wind. So, in typical DJI fanboy fashion, it's look how stable this thing is in the wind. Meanwhile, it's right there in front of us dancing around, and the person's still saying it's stable. And some people buy that. Some people just want to hear this, and no matter what they see in front of them, that's going to be law. It's going to be gospel, whatever the person says. So I see videos like that, and it inspires me to want to just throw a video out like this and talk about it. So to boil it all down, as far as what do I want? Do I want a Mavic Mini because I get a great product from a company, a very reputable company, for $400, or do I buy a Fimi X8 where I'm going to pay more to have the extra batteries and all the things that they're throwing in with this? Or do I want, I'm not even going to say the Hubsan Zeno because, well, you know. Or do we want to pay a little bit more and get the Parrot, or, you know, whatever quad is out there that is the hot item right now. The bottom line is buy what suits you best. So if you buy the Mavic Mini, is this going to hold you off for a while? Is this going to be $400 spent and you're instantly just going to want to jump into something where you pay a little bit more and you get what you pay for by paying a little bit more? Comparing, say, the Fimi X8 SE to the Mavic Mini, because that's where a lot of people are really comparing. They are comparing it with the Zeno as well, but the Zeno, it always goes way down in price. So if you're going by price, you're going to go to that Zeno, because even the Zeno Pro, that's going to get down to $250 one day. It has to. There's just no way they're going to keep it at a high point. So you're going to see this Mavic Pro, or Hubsan Zeno Pro, you're going to see it drop down in price. So I'm not really comparing that. But if you're comparing, let's stick with the Fimi. If you're comparing the Mavic Mini with the Fimi X8 SE, and you're thinking, you know, what do I want for my first quad? What do I want out of it? The Fimi X8 SE is going to deliver more than that Mavic Mini. It's going to keep you satisfied longer. If you have that need for 4K, it's got the 4K. Some people will debate its camera quality isn't so great. Some people will say it's really great, it's better than this, it's worse than this. That's all opinion in my book, because my preference in video, as far as quality, I like very nice clean 4K. I don't really care so much if the color is a little too much on the bright side, as far as the blues are too blue or the greens are too green, unless it starts looking like a cartoon. If the color's under a little bit, I really don't mind. I like it to look like what I actually see with my eyes. And my eyes probably don't see 4K, true 4K. So as long as it looks like what I'm looking at right in front of me when I'm out flying, that's all I care about, and that's what the Fimi X8 SE does. Now, I'm not doing this video to sell you on the Fimi X8 SE. I want you to buy whatever your heart desires, but my whole thing is I just found it very funny how everybody talks themselves into why I need this quad when it's really not in your market. You're not really the market they're trying to hit, but they know you'll buy it. Just like this. The Apple iPhone 11 Max or Pro Max. I bought it. Do I need it? No. I had an iPhone 8 Plus. You take the iPhone 10. You don't need it if you have those phones. It's got the 3 cameras. It does some extra stuff. It's got nice video, blah, blah, blah. But I've also got other cameras that do that too. So I really did not need this. But I am an Apple guy. I like Mac. I like my Apple TV. I like my new Apple TV streaming that they have, the new 1-year free subscription. I'm already on it. And I like the next great thing when it comes to the iPhone. So I'm an iPhone fanboy, I guess. I will buy all their stuff pretty much all day long. So I get it. I totally get it for the DJI people. But what I've been seeing, it just makes it so funny to see how grown men turn into little boys again, seeing a new product and talking themselves into why they have to have it, instead of pointing out that this is really for the beginners, and try to put out content that is very helpful to the beginners. That's what I think it should be. So, and if you do that, the other people will still buy it. But trying to sell it off as something more than it actually is the false advertising here, because it's really not any high tech. It doesn't have any bells and whistles. It doesn't have all the features. You can't use the goggles with it. You can only use controller with phone. You can't use just phone. They did everything they can to keep the cost down and keep the price, keep the weight down. So keeping the weight down, obviously the price is going to be down too, because they're not putting anything in it. So that's all I'm pointing out here, is just the funny things I've seen where you know, everybody's talking themselves into why they have to have this, and the videos that are out there saying it's this when it's really not. Crack me up when you compare to things that are said with a quad like the Fimi X8 SE and its forward sensors, or its poor video quality, or falling out of the sky, or overheating, none of which I have a problem with or ever have had a problem with my Fimi X8 SE. So that right there alone should tell you something. That is something to contend with. That is something to bring enough attention to where people, you know, want to lean you in another direction, because that's actually a lot better than what people represent it as. It's a really good quad. I love the Fimi X8 SE. So buy it, buy the Mavic Mini, buy the Xeno Pro, buy a Parrot Anafi, buy whatever suits you, buy whatever fits your needs, your niche, what you're in the market for, and really think about how long is this going to satisfy my appetite. So it's either that, it might be the Mavic Mini, it might be the Fimi X8 SE, or some of the others I've mentioned. But my main point in doing this video was I just don't buy into all the hype of the Mavic Mini. And I probably never will. I've never really been one that falls into all that hype. Even when it comes to the iPhones and people are going nuts talking about rumors and all that, I hate all that. I can't stand all that. That's when I just feel like grown men become little children. And it's cute and funny to watch. But in the end, I know a good product's coming, and I'll most likely buy it. That's all that matters to me. So I just focus on what's in front of me in the real world, and once the product comes out, then I look at it, then I see for myself, make my own decisions, and make that purchase. So go out and grab yourself a Mavic Mini if you think that's what works for you. And definitely, I could say, at least at this point, not even owning one, what I know as far as research and what I've watched on YouTube and all the threads of stuff I've read, I can definitely say it's a great beginner's quad. If you are looking for something new as a beginner, this is probably the quad for you. But the only question you have to ask yourself is, how long is this going to hold your appetite? Are you going to be craving for that 4K? Are you going to be wanting the DJI goggles? No, you won't be able to do that with this. So you got to think about those things. Do you want more features that it does not have? Possibility, they're going to probably throw in a follow me, the simple features they can throw in, but you're not going to have all the feature settings and things like that that you're going to have in the other DJI products. At least I don't think so. Those are the things you've got to ask yourself. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. And it's not to piss anybody off by talking down. If you think I've talked down on the Mavic Mini, you really did not pay attention to video. I'm not pointing out and making fun of fanboys. If that's what you think, you did not pay attention and you didn't watch the video properly, or to its full extent. I never was making fun of anybody being a fanboy. I just think it's funny how fanboys act, and I've even admitted I am a fanboy when it comes to Apple products. Just not any of the drones. I like the whole wide spectrum of drones that are out there, and I don't stick myself to one and try to make myself look like I am all about this one or the other. I want whatever is competing and keeping up with whatever I have that I think is superior. So like my Mavic Pro 2, that's my favorite quad. That's at the top of my list as far as my quads go. But I love the fact that I have the Parrot Anafi. I love the fact that I have the Fimi X8 SE. and that those are close contenders. They have some things that are better. They have some things that aren't as good, but they are something that can get you close to that Mavic 2 feel and quality and features, and not pay near as much. So those are the type of quads I like. So again, not trying to offend anybody. I know that's hard to do in a video like this. People are going to get offended. People are going to make their comments that just really don't need to be made. So in the end, I hope we can all be adults and take this as just my opinion, and it is what it is. It's a beginner's quad. That's what I think it is. You can own it if you're not a beginner. It's not against the law. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and hope I didn't waste your time. This is just something that was on my mind, and just putting it out there. So until next time, take care and happy flying.